Hello everybody, my name is Kellen Mckinney-Forbes, and today's brief will be about return on investment when you're dealing with instructional design. Before I go into this topic, I want to let you know that this topic is very important to me as an instructional systems designer, so please pay attention, and I think that you will get the best out of this. In case you have any questions about return on investment, you have all those questions answered within this presentation. Next slide, please. Moving on to our objectives. Our first objective, we're going to define the meaning of return on investment, or ROI. Next, we're going to summarize the different types of technological innovations that there are today. Then we're going to go over the return of investment formula. Next up, we're going to list Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation, as well as talk about the 5th level. And then lastly, we're going to list the benefits associated with return on investment evaluations. If there are no questions, we're going to move on to the next slide. So return on investment definition, there are probably many definitions out there. I happened to look on dictionary.com. Definition I got on there was the amount of profit before tax and after depreciation from the investment made, usually expressed as a percentage of the original cost invested. And that is just the dictionary.com definition. I also have another definition from the Association of Talent and Development website. Actually was on the training guide when I took the instructional systems designer certificate. It says that the definition is return on investment is a measure of a monetary benefits obtained by an organization over a specified time frame in return for a given investment in a training program. Another way of looking at ROI is that the benefits outputs of training exceed the cost of the inputs. Next slide, please. Next up, we're talking about the technological innovations. Some of these you are probably familiar with, if you heard or seen before. The first one being mobile learning, which has become very popular. There's a lot of different applications that you can get on board your cell phones or your tablets, and you can actually learn on the go wherever you are. Next up, we have game-based learning. And this is something that I saw a lot when I was in the Navy. We had different programs and training tools that were based on a game. So we had one where somebody was actually on board a ship and they had to navigate their way through a ship, but it was a game for people that had never been on board a ship. They kind of learned how to navigate to find their way around a big ship. Next, we have your BYOD, which is Bring Your Own Device program. This one is where somebody with cell phones or a tablet, or they have their own personal computer, they would bring that to work and they'd be able to work on that particular device. Next, we have open educational resources, and that could be with any type of university or college. They have resources and libraries that you can utilize to do research. Then we have your MOOCs, which is a massive open online course. Those are also getting very popular out there as well. A lot of people that use those, also universities, colleges that use those, and any type of different programs that have some type of training, they use those online. And then next we have flipped classrooms. I guess flipped classrooms is pretty much when you have some work to do, pre-work, before you actually go into the classroom that you'll have to do as a prerequisite. And then you'll go into class and you'll get some information and do some training and learn some more. And then afterwards, you'll have work to complete outside of the classroom on your own as you continue to evolve and learn more. Next slide, please. Next, here is our return on investment formula. We have the ROI percentage equals the program benefits minus the program cost divided by the program cost times 100. So that is the formula that you're going to use for return on investment. Next up, we have Donald Kirkpatrick's 5 levels of evaluation. And this is something that, again, I saw in the military, and we used and we taught about this, so that way people understood why we did these different evaluations inside a classroom setting. Number one, the reaction is basically that first level, and just measure those reactions of the students and their attitudes and how they understood and experienced that particular class. Level number two is going to be focused more on learning, and the goal is so that they have actually information that they can utilize, let's say on their day jobs, that can help them. Moving on to level three is going to be basically behavior, and that's going to be that transfer of training and on-the-job behavior as a result of that training program. How did they actually handle that on their day job? And then you have your level four, which is the results, and those are kind of the final resort to the outcomes of that organization. What do they want to get out of this training, and what did they get out of this training? And number five is just simply the return on investment when it comes to Kirkpatrick. Donald Kirkpatrick did a lot of work, and we utilize it in the military, and I know a lot of organizations that utilize his evaluation levels. Next slide, please. So these are some of the benefits here that come from return on investments. You have your labor savings, which that can reduce that duplication of effort. Also, faster access to the information that they need. Then next up, you have productivity, and that's going to be a higher motivation leading to greater effort, as well as higher skill lists creating faster work. Also, we have income. That's going to be a higher success rate with sales proposals, could be new product ideas that actually lead to success for that organization. And then we have other, which could be a lower staff turnover, which is good because the more turnover rate you have, the more time it takes to train the new personnel. That's also reflected in recruiting, cost savings, and fewer machine breakdowns and lower maintenance costs, which I'm sure a lot of people like to do that, to lower that cost of any type of maintenance that's required. Next slide, please. So in summary, we went over and defined the meaning of return on investment. Then we went ahead and summarized the different types of technological innovations, which is good to know what's out there because you need to know what's out there in the newer technology so that way your organization can take advantage of it and learn it as well. Then we went over the return on investment formula so you know how to calculate that, and you can find out if you know what you're doing is worth that money in the long run. Put a little money out front and then make more money on the back end of that. Next up, we have we went over Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation, and we talked about the fifth, which is ROI, and went into that in depth there and broke those down with level 1 being reaction, level 2 being learning, number 3 being behavior, and number 4, which is results. And then last but not least, we went ahead and looked at the benefits associated with return of evaluation. And this is important again for any organization to make sure that they are actually spending money and they get a good return out of that after the fact. With that being said, my references are right here on the next slide here. Again, I used a lot of my information I got was from these resources. Please check out the Association of Talent Development website. There's a lot of materials and good resources for you. I appreciate your time. God bless.